Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Zoe and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to be doing a video that I'm so excited to make, and that is the book recommendation tag. This tag was actually created by my favorite YouTuber, Steph Bohr, so if you're watching Steph, I love you so much, you are an inspiration. So in this video, I'm just going to be reading the questions that Steph created and giving you my answers for book recommendations. Let's get started. So the first question is, a book that you tell people is your favorite. So just like songs and like movies, I never have like one favorite book, but if you were to ask me what my favorite book is, I would tell you it's The Inheritance Games by Lynn Barnes. I love that series so much. I just feel like I enjoy the pacing, the chapters, the character development, the mystery. If you don't know what The Inheritance Games is about, it's about a girl named Avery, and she's just a regular girl. But one day, the richest man in Texas leaves his will, his entire estate, all his money to her. And he has 4 grandsons that you're going to love, the Hawthorne brothers. And the books just take you on this whole mystery of like figuring out why he left it to her, and you just learn so much and the characters develop so much, and the author is expanding that universe, and it is the best thing ever. Highly recommend. It's a very fast-paced, quick read, and it's good if like you need to get out of a slump or get back into reading. So yeah, that's totally my favorite book. The next question is a book that is your guilty pleasure, and honestly, I'm not ashamed to say it. Let me just grab it and show you. The Selection series. Let me explain this to you guys, because I feel like you're probably thinking, yeah, we all read The Selection in middle school and loved it, and it's like a guilty pleasure. I read these books when I was a junior in high school. I love them, and I don't care. They're my guilty pleasure because they're so good. I was on the edge of my seat reading The Elite. It's good, okay? Like, if you just want to have some fun and you just want some vibes, if you want Barbie Princess Charm School vibes, okay, read these books. They're so good, and they're so short because they're like YA, they're meant to be fun. Chef's kiss. Guilty pleasure, but I'm not ashamed. I love The Selection. The next question is a book everyone loved but you didn't. I actually have 2 from this. They're from a trilogy. I haven't read the 3rd one yet, but that is The Fine Print and Terms and Conditions from the Dreamland Billionaire series. I did not enjoy those books. Honestly, I gave them like 3.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads just because I didn't enjoy like how the male main characters acted towards the female main characters. I felt like they were very mean, and the self-reflection kind of like suddenly came in a paragraph or like in a chapter, and it was just kind of like you've been mean all this time. And the love just felt kind of like instant between Zara and Rowan, and then I think I liked Declan and Iris more, honestly. But I just did not like love those books. I did like Cal though, like his side characterness in both books. So I will be giving his book a chance when I get there. But I just didn't love those 2. And you know what? Maybe they weren't for me. Maybe that genre wasn't for me. But yeah, I just didn't really enjoy those. The next question is a book you read the fastest. And honestly, this is a book I don't hear talked about enough. It's called Kim Ji-young, born 1982. And I read this my senior year of high school, and I read it in one day. I literally remember that day so clearly. Like, I was reading it before school. I was reading it like after I got off the bus coming home. I was reading it at night when there was like a tornado warning. Like, I just remember that day so clearly. I was like stuck in that book. There was a tornado warning, and I was like, I'm gonna finish this book today. It was only like 100 something pages, which is also why it was easier to finish in one day, but I read that book so quick and I really enjoyed it. It talks a lot about like social issues with women in Korea and just women in general, and I feel like a lot of women could relate to it. So I definitely recommend reading that book. Another book I read really fast is The Final Gambit, which is the 3rd book in the Inheritance Game series. So good, so good. I already talked about that. The next question is a book that deserves more hype, and I actually have this book with me right now. Ace of Spades. It has that like mystery aspect that I like. I really did not read the back of this book before I got it. I looked at it and I thought, ooh, it's giving like academic rivals, like academic lovers rivals. That's not what this book is about. There's not a love thing between these 2, but it is so good. So the book is about Devin and Chiamaka, and they go to this really fancy private school, and they're super smart. But the people at that school are racist, and as you can see, they are African American. So it's very hard for them to like overcome the challenges. But there is like, okay, so like I don't want to give anything away, but there's like a murder mystery plot line, and it goes like back and forth between them. So there's dual POV, which I love so much, and just like the plot twists in this book are insane, which I live for a good plot twist. And I feel like I don't see enough people talking about this book. Obviously there are trigger warnings for like mental health, homophobia, racism, so if that kind of stuff triggers you, definitely look it up before you read the book. But I totally think this book is not talked about enough, and I really enjoyed it, and also it kept me on my toes, and I read it pretty quickly. The next question is a book that is becoming a TV show or a movie, and I'm so excited for this one because this is a book that I love so much. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. It's also so cool because the woman who's like directing these movies is an author herself, and I just find so much inspiration in that because I love to write and I'm also a film major. Like, I love to make movies, so I just know this book is gonna be adapted well. I really enjoyed Book Lovers, and I have a review on it from 2 years ago, I think, when I read it now, because I just enjoyed that book so much, and it is what made me fall in love with romance books. So as a lover of rom-coms, I just know that Book Lovers is gonna be great in its adapted state, and I cannot wait to watch it when it finally comes out. Oh my gosh, I love this question. This is a book that you have reread the most, and you're probably like not gonna guess this. I'll give you a minute, just guess. That book is The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I love Percy Jackson. Percy Jackson is responsible for like half of my personality. The trajectory of my life changed when I read Percy Jackson. He's the reason I made a fan account. He's the reason that I started reading fan fiction. He's the reason that I'm just the way that I am today. He's the reason that I am a crazy book lover. And so I've reread The Lightning Thief the most out of any book probably because I feel like every year I want to go back and like read it again, and as I get older it's like thinking about 12-year-old little baby Percy doing the stuff he did, it just blows my mind because when I was reading it and I was younger I was like, Percy's so cool, like he's so cool. If that was my little brother, like now I'm like, you're not going out there to fight these monsters. I just love rereading like the books that made me love reading and the books that like were so important to me when I was younger, because I just know Percy Jackson was like my life, and so I feel like I just reread that book more than any other book. I honestly don't reread like books that I've read recently, and I feel like I should do that more because I reread Percy Jackson, which is why I know so much about it, but I totally should like reread some of my other favorite books. So the next question is a book from a genre that you don't typically read. So the genre that I don't typically read is dystopian, which is crazy because I love dystopian stories. I love dystopian movies. I love The Hunger Games, but I don't find myself typically reading those books a lot, which is crazy. The book that I'm going to tell you guys about is Legend by Marie Lu, which is so good. One of the best books I've ever read. It's set in a dystopian society, and there's this boy named Day, and he's the most wanted criminal in the world at the moment, and there's a girl named June, and she has to find him, but she ends up like teaming up with Day along the way, not knowing that he is the guy she's looking for. So yeah, it's such a good book, and I love it so much, and I love like dystopian movies and dystopian stories, but I just don't read them enough. And Legend is really good, and it's actually part of a series, so I should definitely get on that, reading more of it. Moving on, a book that deserves all the hype it gets. I'm gonna let this one speak for itself for a moment. Beach Read by Emily Henry. If you can't tell by now, I love Emily Henry so much. I've mentioned this in multiple videos on my channel. I love Beach Read. In fact, I'm rereading it this summer. I know I just told you I don't reread books, but I've been planning to reread it. Look at how I annotated this. You probably can't tell. I've annotated a lot. I wrote sticky notes in this book. Like, that's how deeply I annotated this book. I resonated with Gus in January. I loved their love story. And this book just gives me all the vibes that I need. And I know Emily Henry is super popular, and I know people talk about her books all the time and say how great they are. This book deserves all the hype. Oh my gosh, I love this question so much. This question is a book that has your favorite characters. I love fictional characters. You could probably tell. If I told you that Percy Jackson changed the trajectory of my life, Heroes of Olympus changed it even more. Percy Jackson books are books that I read in elementary school and loved so much, but Heroes of Olympus is books that I read in middle school when I started having like Tumblr and Pinterest and stuff, and I could just obsess over the characters. I used to like obsess over those posts that would be like a question and all the things they would say. Like, I feel like Heroes of Olympus is what made me like deeply, like I've always loved fictional characters, but the emotional attachment I feel to like Frank Zhang, Hazel Levesque, Nico D'Angelo, the attachment I have to these characters is unreal. Another book series that I would say has the characters I love is the Inheritance Game series. I'm gonna hold up the Brothers Hawthorne as my representation of this series at the moment. I love the Hawthorne brothers so much. In fact, when I'm annotating Inheritance Games books, I have a color dedicated to just the Hawthorne brothers, and when I use that color, it means that's so Hawthorne, which is basically just things that are just so like Hawthorne brothers because I just love them so much. Specifically Jameson. This is actually my bear, Jameson, my son, who I got for my 18th birthday. I named him after Jameson. I went to Build-A-Bear, did the whole thing because I love him that much. There is just something about those characters and those boys. Like Grayson, I love Grayson. That's why I love this book so much, because this book gave me Grayson and it gave me Jameson and it gave me everything I needed, and it's so thick and I loved it. Moving on, a book that you wish you could live in. You guys are gonna think I'm cray-cray for this one. A book I wish I could live in is actually The Cruel Prince, and would I survive? I don't know. If I was a fairy, I probably would. I probably would make some people mad though. I actually have a reading vlog of me reading, I don't know which book it is in the Cruel Prince trilogy, but I have a vlog of me like reading it from last year, which is actually so entertaining because I was like nervous. I would want to live here because I just want to experience Elfhame. One thing about me is I love a book with a map. This map just makes me want to be in this world. Like, look at it. It's beautiful. Like, this is my bucket list of if I went to Elfhame. Become besties with Jude. Fight Taryn. Yell at Carden. That's just like what I would do if I went there. I really enjoyed this book, as you can see, also annotated up. I really would want to live in this universe, and it's so bad because it's so scary and like violent, but it would be fun, okay? Like, it would be fun to be in a fantasy book. I love fantasy books. The next question is a book that you thought would hate but ended up loving. I genuinely don't think I thought I would hate any book that I would read. I feel like if I thought I would hate a book, I probably wouldn't read it. Hate is a really strong word, but okay, hear me out with this one, because in my last video, I praised this book. Happy Place by Emily Henry. Love Emily Henry. Great author. But this book came out last year, and I got it for my birthday last year, and I started it last year, DNF'd it. I did not finish it until this year, and it's actually really good. I've heard so many mixed things about it. Some people don't like it at all. I actually ended up loving this book. However, it was hard for me to get into it a little bit. It was a little bit hard for me to get into. But it ended up being one of like my favorite books, and I love the vibes. It's so good. Everything worked out in the end. I think the problem was the miscommunication. I didn't like how we did not know why the main characters like broke up. Like Wade and Harriet, it was kind of like what exactly is it that made him divorce her, but like not divorce. It was kind of like what exactly is it that broke them up, like if they were so in love, and there's this like it was like I don't like how long it took to find that out. It kind of stressed me out. I don't like miscommunication trope, if you can't tell. I never thought I would hate this book because like I really, if there was a book I thought I would hate, I probably wouldn't read it. But I just thought maybe like I was not gonna like finish it, I was gonna DNF it. But I gave it a chance and I pushed through and I loved it. It was really good. Like there was good quotes in here, like good moments. We're getting down to the end, guys. I'm so sad. This is so much fun. The next question is a book that made you cry, and the answer is no book has ever made me cry. I did get misty-eyed when I read The Last Olympian. But we're not going to talk about that. A book that I feel like made me really like deeply sad though, because like I don't cry when I read books, but I became deeply sad when I read The Way I Used to Be. That book is really sad, and it has like deep trigger warnings, so look that up before you read it. But I think I talked about this last year. I really like thought that book was super eye-opening. I read it and I thought like it was really good, so it made me very sad. I didn't cry, but it made me very sad. Okay, the last question is a book you wish you could read for the first time. The answer is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I love that book so much. I just love the vibes of that book. I love how it had like the little rom-com like titles and everything. That book was just so cute and so fun, and like I really enjoyed reading it. Even the main character Liz stressed me out. Like girl, she stressed me out sometimes, but it was so good. I just wish I could experience it all over again. However, we are getting a sequel this summer, I think. It's about a girl named Liz, and she loves rom-coms, and she just wants her perfect like promposal, perfect romantic date. Like she just wants prom to be perfect, and like movie, like think of like Nora Ephron movies, like rom-com, you know? So she's like going after this boy that she really likes, who honestly like he's not that great, and the boy next door, Wes, is like her enemy, but they end up working together in the book, and you'll see what happens with them when you read it. So those are all the questions, guys. I had so much fun making this video because I love talking about books. I love sharing my favorite books with other people, and I think this is just a great way for me to like kind of recommend some of my top faves right off the bat in one video. Please comment below your favorite books and your answers to any of the questions, all of the questions if you want, honestly. Also, make sure you go check out Steph's video that she made when she created this tag. It's on her channel. It's so good. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you next week. Bye! Mwah.